Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is Kenny Jang with the Church Butler Lunch and Learn podcast. I'm happy to be here today talking about social media for churches. I've got my friend here, Bradon Swain, with me. Welcome to the show, Bradon.
Thanks for having me, Kenny. It's been a great pleasure to meet you and to do this podcast. So it's pretty awesome.
I love it. So before we get started, why don't you just share with all of us a little bit about what you do for your day job and your ministry that you're involved with with the ministry resources?
Yeah, so my ministry is my day job, which is pretty awesome. The ministry I work for, called For Ministry Resources, is a church tech ministry that helps churches leverage social media and technology to get the best impact that they possibly can online and make a good online impact. So I do that for about, almost 40 hours a week. And then I'm a youth pastor at Lakeshore Baptist Church in Cicero, New York, right outside of Syracuse. And that's kind of my part-time job. So really I get to do full-time ministry all the time. So it's pretty awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your youth ministry aspect of your vocation. What age group are you carrying over?
We have a pretty diverse age group. We actually have a lot of older students that are in college age, but then it's like there's no middle ground. There's one extreme or the other. So it's college age students and seniors in high school, and then it's early on high school, leaving junior high. So 10th grade, 9th, 10th grade, stuff like that. So there's really no middle ground between them. So yeah, that's basically the demographic that we have in that ministry. So
I'm assuming that part of your day or part of your tool set is social media, right? You are actually communicating directly with students or publishing on social so that they consume it?
Yes, sir, all the time. Man, my wife will get on me all the time. She's like, "What are you doing on Facebook?" And I'm like, I'm working. I promise you, I'm working. So it's kind of hard. I had to convince her and promise her I'm doing stuff. But yeah.
That's funny. So what channels or platforms is your church embracing right now for social media?
We just started Instagram, but our biggest platform right now is Facebook. But we just started Instagram a couple weeks ago, and that's been doing pretty well. We're getting slow but steady followers, so that's been great. And then for the youth ministry, we use Instagram and Snapchat. I'm about to cut Facebook from the youth ministry because none of my students use it. So I'm about to just say, I'm not going to worry about trying to post content to that platform anymore for the youth ministry. I'm just going to focus on Instagram and Snapchat. So
yeah, Facebook has become middle school for 40-year-olds, as I say, right?
Oh yeah, for real. Yeah.
And to the kids, it's really like what LinkedIn is to a lot of adults, right? They know they should have an account there for existence, but it's not something that they go and use to really connect with their friends.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's talk about Snapchat in particular. Recently, I was in a epic discussion battle with my friend Neil Smith, who runs the Social Media Church podcast with Jay Cranda at Saddleback. And one of the things that we've been going back and forth is the prediction in this next year for 2017 for Snapchat itself and its relevance to culture. Nils is predicting the demise of Snapchat. I'm saying that Snapchat is healthy, robust. It's in a leadership position. Where do you weigh in on that, Bradon?
I would swing to your side, Kenny. I saw a lot of people, not to be, what do they call that when the election was going on? Those opinion vacuums, whatever. But not to be one of those kind of people. But I would definitely weigh in on your side. And a lot of people were saying when Facebook stories went live, everyone was like, "Oh man, Snapchat's dead. And I was like, and me being a youth pastor, I was like, there's no way, because I talk to my students all the time and I'm just like, hey, I'm posting Instagram stories and stuff on our Instagram, my youth group's Instagram. And they're like, why do you do that? I don't like watching Instagram stories. And I know for a fact, when Facebook, those stories hit, they were just like, ugh. I remember hearing the conversations between them, ugh. And that's the biggest demographic right now, especially for youth pastors and stuff, obviously. So and they're not, and because of that too, I think that younger generation is so loyal. Just think back when MySpace was still big, and when I was a young kid in high school, around the age of my students were, and Facebook went live. I was like, or Facebook started to gain some momentum, I was like so hell-bent on not joining Facebook because I was so loyal to MySpace. And I think that is the same thing we're going to see with Snapchat, because this younger generation, the younger millennial, the younger student age are still so loyal to Snapchat. They're not going to jump off of using Snapchat stories or anything like that. So yeah.
What are your youth actually using Snapchat for? I think one of the big problems is that the older generations, the parents and teachers, etc., don't understand what Snapchat is in the life of a teen. Mm-hmm. Can you share a little bit from your perspective? Is it just I think people look at it almost like just a place to be vain, and kind of like how people look at Instagram as a place to just share what you're eating. They look at it as frivolous. It's not part of their life, really. How are youth using Snapchat today?
I said they're using it to document their life. I mean, that's what I see all the time. Like, and I love that aspect about my students, that they share what's going on in their day, not just what they're eating, because that's like the stereotype, the faux pas kind of thing. But they're just like saying like, "Hey, I'm hanging out with this person," or like. One student of mine posted one of my other students like went and got her like a drink from a gas station, and she was just like so happy, like, oh my, and they posted a selfie, and like you just see those kind of moments, and I think they're really just trying to share life with the other people in their age groups and stuff like that. And I think it's more or less just not being vain. It's documenting the stuff that happens in your day, which some people might say is bad too. It's like, oh, you're constantly on your phone documenting everything that's going on. But at the same time, it's like, no, that's, what happens when you go into a group of people, you tell them the good stuff that happened to your day. When I end my day here doing stuff at FMR, I tell my wife what happened. And so, but now Snapchat's kind of bridged that link. Now, no longer do you have to see people to tell them what happened, but you can send them a story or a snap and say, hey, look what's happening right now. This is so cool, So I think that's what, I think that's definitely what my students are using it for. That's what I use it for, to show them bits and pieces of my day, show them my daughter, when I'm messing around with her. So, yeah. It's creating community that does not have when you don't have to be together. That's basically what it is. And I think that's
nice. Yeah. So, how are you using it? Are you using it just to broadcast things, or are you using it for direct messaging individuals? Because it's one of the things that people find hard about Snapchat is that it's not like email where you can just broadcast and spam everybody every day.
Yeah. I'm using it just to kind of share stuff what's happened, like, because my students like to see like what's going on in my day and stuff like that. So I'm using that, and I just use the story feature. Like, I don't send them like everything that's going on, because I did that once and they were like, you gotta stop this. So like, so I was just like, because whatever. But so I just use the story feature. But yeah, I use it to, share them my day. And sometimes I'll just use it to text them. I'll see something about their day and I was like, hey, how'd that go? And like just shoot them a quick little text in the snap and in the feed. And sometimes I'll even video chat them, because I didn't even know that until a couple months ago that Snapchat had the video chat feature. So like just for like a quick video chat real quick, like, instead of calling them, just like shoot them a video chat or something like that. Yeah, that's basically in some announcements. I mean, that's still like what's going on, but I try to get creative with it. Like I always use filters to relay the announcements to some crazy thing just to make it fun. But that's like on a rarest of occasions. But the most of the time, I'm just like saying like, hey, like what I'm learning today sometimes from my devotions and stuff like that. And I've seen pastors, they do devotions on their Snapchat, like they'll post like the verses and then like a little comment about them, stuff like that. And I've tried doing that with some of my teams and just sending them privately and to say, hey, like I'm, this verse came up, I'm thinking about you, praying for you and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's a great way to be a pastor without being, physically present in their lives. So I think it's, that's, the advantages I see from it. So
talking about your youth population, in terms of efficiency of choosing a platform, what percentage of your students are actually on Snapchat?
100%.
100%. Okay.
100%, yeah.
What about Facebook?
I would say that would go down to about 70%. I know there's a couple of students that are not on Facebook at all.
And then what about Instagram?
I think that would go back to 100%.
Gotcha. So the youth, I mean, you're confirming or what's out there, right? Is that the youth today all are on Snapchat or Instagram. That's where they go first. They're not on email. They're not on Facebook. They are on Snapchat. So are you using other mediums to get to a student? If you wanted to get to a student, what is the channel that you would you call them first? Would you snap them first? Instagram, Facebook Messenger, texting? What would you use first to get to a student?
I would say Snapchat again, just because like I have like chats open all the time sometimes, and they message me back and forth, like asking, like they'll ask me questions on Snapchat. So like the other day, this one particular student who has my number decided instead of texting me or calling me, she Snapchatted me and just asked me a question about an event that was coming up. So then that told me, I was like, oh, well, that's what they check the most. So like when I have to relay information, I'll just, if it's to a particular person, I'll just go to my Snapchat and send a snap story or send a text real quick through Snapchat. And then I'll go to Facebook Messenger if no one, if I know someone isn't on Snapchat or if they're not checking their Snapchat.
Yeah, I think it's important to hear from a practitioner like you that that's literally how you think when you're trying to communicate with the youth, because so much of the discussion out there is academic and they don't understand in real world that our youth in real time are on Snapchat. Now, do you have any of these streaks with people? Can you explain what that is? And I think that's one of the hooks that Snapchat has to have it as a app of choice over some others for youth.
Yeah, actually, me and Jackson, and it's me, Jackson, and my wife that have streaks right now. Well, not right now. We actually lost our streaks, but usually me, Jackson, and my wife are like.
So what's a streak?
A streak is when you send a Snapchat every single day to somebody. So within like 24 hours, like you send someone else, the same person, a snap. And basically, so you can accumulate you just have to send one a day to kind of add to your streak. And so like some of my students have gotten like 200 streaks before. Like they're like all about it. And I was like, to me, like as an older adult, like I guess, even though I'm 24, but like I seem old to these students, but like to me, I'm just like, wow, that's so pointless. Because I was like, because literally to get these streaks, they send just like a blank picture and just say streak pic or something like that. And I'm just like, what? That's it? Like that's all you do? And they're like, yeah, it's awesome. And I was like, okay. And like so, like I just didn't understand it when I first started learning about that more and more. And then I was like, wow, that really matters to them. So
yeah, I mean, again, that's one of the reasons why young adults are opening up Snapchat every single day, right?
Yeah.
What they're trying to do is maintain these streaks, and that they're just literally, it's almost like an admin function, right? They're just trying to go through and snap back a picture or a message to every single one they're trying to maintain a streak with. And it's kind of like a badge of honor, but it also is a little bit of an indication of how many friends you really have and how many friends, who the people are your closest friends, right? That inner circle that you're keeping streaks with.
Yeah, definitely. And, they celebrate all the time. Like you see those celebratory ones that are just like 100 streak day or something like that. Like, yeah, it really is a badge of honor. It's like, I wish I could have equated something, but it was like, for me, when I was a kid, it was like collecting the most Pokemon cards almost like, and I was just like, to me that was awesome. And like, to other people probably had no relevance. Like to my mom and dad, they're like, okay, you're stupid. Why are we spending so much money on Pokemon cards? But, so that's kind of like the relevance there, like take, when you were a kid, whatever you collected, it's like the new collecting because it's like they're collecting streaks.
But it has this relational component to it, which I think is very interesting.
Yeah. And they spawn, and then not even that day is that, I know some of my students, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but some of my students, they'll send that streak pic and then they'll continue to talk to that person for the rest of the day. Like, so it's just like, it's like, hey, we're sharing our day together. And I think that's awesome, especially in my youth group where they're so tight knit and they're sharing their days with one another. I think that's really cool.
That's awesome. So for someone who's going to jump into Snapchat, you've got a large population that's on Snapchat. What's the first thing that someone should try to master or understand about Snapchat? What's the first thing that you would recommend if you were, if you had a new staffer, either an intern or someone that you're taking under your wings as a mentor? What would you try to teach them?
I would just say, man, that's a good question. Because there's like for me, like I don't really see it as like something that could be mastered because there's no like rhyme or reason to it. Because so like Instagram and Facebook have like analytics and they have data and like you can see all the stuff. I mean, Snapchat has a small amount of data. You can see how many people viewed your story, but you can't see how many people actually liked your story unless they send you like a comment.
No, I'm talking about function wise. Is it direct messaging? Is it stories? What is it? Filters? What's the?
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm sorry, I misunderstood the question, but no, I would say definitely the story feature, stories and filters, because I think that's because there's not a whole lot of direct Snapchat to Snapchat going on. At least what I've seen is that you have those younger students that are sending the streaks and stuff like that, and there's like, but the people that they continue the streaks on with, and the people that they continue talking to the rest of the day are their close friends. So like you only direct Snapchat somebody who you like really know very well, because it'd be weird to get like a Snapchat from like anybody that's watching me right now. That'd just be like strange, like okay, but yeah, definitely stories, because that's where your main content's going to go. That's where where people are going to watch, even if they don't know you, they'll still check out that part. So I definitely say master stories. And the way to master stories would be through filters, because that's like the best thing right now. Just messing with filters. And if you have a pastor, man, if you're a social media manager and you have a pastor and you guys have a Snapchat account, even if you're a youth pastor and you're managing a Snapchat account for your youth ministry, put a filter on somebody, put a filter on your pastor, put a filter on yourself, and just be goofy and be crazy. And I think that's the draw of Snapchat, is that you don't have to be super planned out. You don't have to say like, okay, this is our schedule for Snapchat. It's like, hey, like let's put a filter on on our pastor and have him talk with voice. And that's what's good. And people are going to consume that and like enjoy it, and not just say, not just be another thing they scroll past on their feed, because people love seeing people in dog face filters. So,
well, I think what happens is it humanizes everybody and makes you accessible, right? That's basically what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. It's personal.
Hey, so what about geofilters? Have you had any experience with geofilters with your church?
I've had a bad experience with geofilters.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I was trying to get one of the free community ones set up, and I was trying so hard. I mean, I put off the logos and everything, and I tried to make it from scratch and just did like simple ones, and I got denied. And I finally realized that Snapchat's not going to let me do it because the church is too small. And I think they just realized that it probably would cost them more money in the long run to put it up there than me just to have it for free and everything. So I think for us, paying for filters goes very well, and I think and they're affordable. They're not like crazy amounts of money. I mean, so I think Jackson even he was telling me about a filter that he got for like $5 just for a youth seminars conference. And really, filters are the best way to market on Snapchat. I mean, because when you have a filter, and if you're around any youth at all, as soon as you go to a new place, and even myself, like when I go to a new place and I'm taking Snapchats, I swipe left and look for those filters, man, because it's so cool to see the different things that people designed in that community to be put up on Snapchat. Like I live in Rochester. I mean, I live in Syracuse, New York. So like when I go to Rochester has the best one, I think, or no, Buffalo does. They have really cool ones. They have like a buffalo wing and stuff like that. So it's like cool to see those things. So it's cool to be like, you feel like a part of a bigger community when you're using those filters. And also, when a church uses a filter and you have like people coming into your service and stuff, and like right now we're telling a lot of our churches that we partner with to like use Snapchat filters for Easter, because especially my youth, and I encourage my youth to snap during service, because I want them to see, because they have hundreds and hundreds of friends on their Snapchat feed. I was like, do it, like Snapchat the worship, because when you do that and they post it on their story, hundreds of those kids are going to see it, and they're going to see, wow, that person's going to church. And when you have a filter and you say like Easter at Lakeshore Baptist, all that stuff, and you have those things, people are going to see that and like, wow, man, this such and such is here. That looks really cool. Look at that filter. All that stuff comes into it, and basically you pay $5 you tell all of your youth that you have a filter set up, they're all going to use it. So
Yeah.
that means like your reach just like triple double just with $5 if that's what you can get that Snapchat filter for a couple hours. And you can cross post that to Facebook and stuff like that to let people know that it's there, and cross post to Instagram and everything else and stuff like that. But just for that fact alone, that people because like we said at the beginning, the youth are still loyal to Snapchat. They're going to use that filter. I mean, especially if it's an awesome one that you design and stuff like that, and especially one they feel like it's part of their community, and they feel because the younger generation is very community driven, very loyal to their community. So if they're really sold out to your community at your church, and you have a filter, that's for me, my mind just like explodes when I think about that, because it's just like it's just, to me, the possibilities are endless.
That's totally awesome. Yeah, and for the listeners today, we've got a free step-by-step guide with screenshots and everything on how to set up a Snapchat geo-filter for your church. It's available on our site, on our blog at butler.church, www.butler.church. You can download that free guide. And again, in our experience, we've seen the affordability there as well, because you are basically setting a geo fence, right? The actual location where the Snapchat filter is available. You set it within the boundaries of your church, or maybe a couple of blocks around it. And because it's such a small area, typically the cost that Snapchat gives you is really affordable, $5, $10 for a couple hours or half a day or something. So it's definitely something that we recommend on our side as well. I'm glad that you've got some positive traction out of that as well.
Yeah.
As we close out this Lunch and Learn, any other departing tips for people to watch out for Snapchat, since it's never going to go away, at least not in 2017?
Let me think. I'm not, because there was something new that just happened that I was really excited about. Now I forgot what it was. I had it in my mind.
Well, why don't you, as this last one, why don't you weigh in? Facebook just came out with copycat features, which I love how now in 2017, when you copy, that's actually what we call innovation.
Yeah.
So as Facebook has innovated and copycatted the stories feature, there's Facebook stories and Facebook Day, what do you think about that? Do you think that people are going to be replicating the same story on every single platform, or are they going to choose one? And if they do choose one, do you think the youth are going to stay loyal to Snapchat, or are they going to start to do curation of stories on Facebook and on Snapchat?
I think the youth are going to stick to one, but I certainly hope people do not post all their same stories on across all three platforms, because then I will stop following you, because that's annoying. Yeah, because my rule of thumb is like I try to use both Instagram and Snapchat. So like I'll post on Snapchat and I'll post something different on Snapchat and then post something different on Instagram. Yeah. So it has to be different. Like, because if it's the same, people are just going to tune you out. But I think the youth are going to stay loyal to Snapchat in the future, no matter how cool Facebook's going to get, because Facebook is always going to be viewed by the youth as your grandma's social media. So it's like. They're never so like I feel like Snapchat they feel like as an oasis away from their parents and stuff like that, which is I think is a good thing for them to have their own space. And hey, like as parents that's kind of scary, but at the same time, if you know what's going on in Snapchat, then it's not so scary. But I think they're gonna stay there for sure, because their loyalty is never gonna die to that. And I think people, and I don't even see people using a lot of Facebook stories right now, like as the day, because like I have like a couple, like maybe one or two people post something once a day. But I think Snapchat's going to stay at the top for stories, and I think Instagram's going to be there, and I think Facebook's just going to be like where my grandma posts randomly once in a while on stories. So. Well,
Brandon, thanks for chiming in, and thanks for giving us a practitioner's point of view in terms of youth and Snapchat usage today. I think one of the takeaways is that people really do need to seriously look into getting involved in the platform, especially if you have a community of youth that you want to engage with. Yeah. And I appreciate your just sharing some of the actual experiences that you guys have been going through. So if someone wants to get in touch with you after listening to today's show, how can they best get in touch with you?
The best way to get in touch with me is through Facebook. You can look through my Facebook, or Instagram at Swain3535, and at forministryresources.com, FOR Ministry Resources. So.
Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for today's Lunch and Learn. This video is going to be posted on our Church Butler blog website, and and others are listening to this podcast on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. If you're there, please drop us some comment and feedback. It's the best way to get the word out about this resource so we can help more and more church leaders across the country. I'm Kenny Jang for Church Butler. Thank you for being with us today, and we'll see you next time here at the Lunch and Learn.
Thanks, guys.